And right as we hit the 8:05 mark, we welcome you into tonight's live stream of Wave News Extra. And we begin as we normally like to with a shot of our SkyTrack camera network observing the beautiful city lights in the downtown skyline from across the river out in Jeffersonville. But we're not going to ignore necessarily just how cold it is feeling outside. And it was definitely a lot chillier this weekend. I hope everyone stayed safe and warm as we rounded out the weekend, and know that, yes, things will look warmer. We do have that outlook and much more to discuss later tonight. But we'll begin with the stories to break down and unpack for you as we wind down on this Monday. The one with a lot of implications and so much more to try to corroborate and ask questions and see what people are thinking is the big news for Ford Motor Company, and of course all the families with those ties and those jobs and those relationships here in this part of Kentucky, and the new development that we've been reporting on for a bit now this afternoon. But in essence, the Ford Motor Company is essentially saying they're repurposing their existing battery manufacturing plant in Glendale, Kentucky. And you've heard us in our reporting just discussing the sort of dissolution of the partnership that Ford is not going to have anymore with Blue Oval SK. Ford says it's going to use this plant to serve what it calls its rapidly growing battery energy storage systems, and to try and build a stake in that market. Specifically, this site in Glendale, the company says they're going to use those battery energy storage systems that are the heart of data centers, utilities, large-scale industrial and commercial customers, is the way Ford put it. So again, if you remember last week, Ford saying it was ending its partnership at the plant with SK On to produce those electric vehicle batteries. There's so much more to try to break down, but I did want to share with you all kind of the first two statements we were able to get, one from Ford and the other from the Blue Oval SK team. So this is from the director of Ford Communications, quote, "Kentucky has been a manufacturing powerhouse for Ford for more than 110 years. We're looking forward to expanding our presence in the state. A Ford subsidiary will hire more than 2,100 employees for our battery operations. Battery energy storage is an exciting new market segment for us, and we can't wait to get started," end quote. But you heard what the hiring means there for the 2,100 employees that they want to bring on for this new operation. Well, part of the big reporting and the impact for so many people is this work to confirm that some workers are going to get laid off and they're being terminated. So we reached out to Ford initially. They directed us to Blue Oval SK, and we did get in touch, or at least an official statement from their senior communications manager. And it sounds like, yes, there will be some job loss. This is what I'm going to read from Mallory Cook, their senior communications manager. Quote, "The last day for team members at the Kentucky plant for SK On will be 60 days after they got their notice. We currently have approximately 1,650 team members in Kentucky, and 1,500 of them are what the company's calling joint venture employees." So perhaps trying to designate them as employees of both Ford and Blue Oval. But the remaining team members, a very small minority, are considered, quote, secondees. We're working to figure out exactly what that means in parsing in regular terms from one of their parent companies, and they are not receiving a warning notice. But in essence, for how Ford is pivoting with their battery market operations and innovation, it sounds like there will be some job loss, and to see where those people losing this Blue Oval job, how they could apply to then try to hop onto Ford and its new operation as we see how that all plays out. And again, because it is really just breaking news from the afternoon, we'll make sure to share as much as we can over the coming days and weeks through all the different Wave News channels with you. Going now to some more stories as we're, checking in on what's happened on our Monday. Another, in this case, a pretty tragic accident, just something that no one was expecting, just a freak coincidence, and the probabilities of this, that a man died after police say a rideshare vehicle he'd been riding in, it rolled down a snowy hill and it actually backed over him. It happened just before 9:30 this morning on North Height Avenue off Brownsboro Road. Officers telling us the rideshare driver couldn't get his car up a snowy hill near some apartments, and the passenger offered to get out and walk. But when he got out of the car, he walked behind that car. LMPD says the driver never saw him, rolled back, ran over him, and unfortunately, tragically killed him. People who live nearby said this was pretty jarring to wake up to such an early morning tragedy.
It's just so sad. It's just so sad, so close to the holidays, and now families have to deal with this.
Well, police say the driver stayed behind and helped others. No charges are expected. Witnesses tell us snow and ice had been plowed off Hyde Avenue, but they could see that the apartment driveways still had snow on them. The LMPD's traffic unit is now handling this investigation, and we still do not know the name of the man who was killed. That information has not been released as of yet. I'm going to come back in here to the studio and just a reference of the story we started our stream with is this news about the Blue Oval SK plant and Ford's decision to pivot. As a question here from viewer Ashley Pawson joining us on Facebook. And Ashley, we do appreciate you because these are questions, perhaps we might share this and it's a matter of reaching out now to the folks in charge and seeing if they can answer that. But I'll read Ashley's question for everybody out loud. So there's what happens with perhaps, tax incentives and the structure and what the county schools might have been expecting out there. Question if this is still going to be maintained as far as the potential investment bringing in those families and then the tax base coming to the schools, and what that does for property taxes, what that might mean for any land appraisals, and Ashley bringing up as sort of her concerns about for county residents, what their burden is going to be as far as the decision now to redirect when it comes to Ford and Blue Oval basically ending their partnership. Great questions, Ashley. I don't know the answers to that, but certainly it's something, if you're thinking of this, probably so many others are, and it's worth reaching out to Ford and Blue Oval to see what their obligations are still to this point. All right, coming back to the stories we wanted to break down for you more so as we begin tonight's stream, or continue to begin this night's stream. So Metro's officer of the Inspector General has confirmed one of their investigators, was involved in a shooting over the weekend. That would be Tracy Carter, accused of shooting a man on Warbler Branch Way late Saturday night during an argument. Well, the man went to the hospital. He's expected to survive. Carter appeared in court, as you see these images from our camera crews there. Carter came into court on a domestic violence assault charge, and a judge set her bond at $100,000 full cash.
Jeffrey Jackson, you sure you're going to be able to? It's $100,000, and if someone does post that bond, ma'am, you will go into the home incarceration program.
Okay, I can't do like a 10% or anything?
I'm sorry, no, ma'am.
Property sign or anything?
No, ma'am. All right, good luck, ma'am.
In general, the Office of Inspector General's mission as an office, preventing, detecting, investigating any fraud, waste, abuse, mismanagement in different state and local government cabinets and agencies. As far as Carter's concerned, she's suspended from that position within the office pending whatever outcome is of the investigation, but she is due back in court on December 23rd. Switching gears here, of course, to the horrifying images and the tragedy of the UPS crash of Flight 2976. Some recently released 911 calls reveal some of the gut-wrenching moments of panic after takeoff. Of course, we know the community continuing to recover, but part of our team, starting late this weekend into today, wanted to break a little bit more of the information of what was shared, just to let you know what happened and what was said in these 911 calls. We actually received roughly an hour's worth of these calls taking place within the first 10 minutes of the crash, and they came from people all over the metro. Some were from drivers, others were people who lived in the neighborhoods where the plane just came crashing down. Several calls even came from apparently inside the crash site. People who saw this last month describing a ball of fire, the plane barely getting off the ground, and of course, security video and so many other perspectives really confirming and cementing that fact. And across the metro, dozens called about the smoke that they saw billowing up into the sky. We want to share just a glimpse of that with you, one of the many calls from somebody who witnessed this. And we want to warn you, the audio, it's hard to think this happened, in the course of a month is gone, but it's still very troubling to hear some of the sound that we're going to play for you in a bit.
911, Operator Stafford, where is your emergency?
We just saw a plane fall here by UPS. It went up in flames and it crashed right by the railroad track.
Are you positive you saw a plane crash?
Yeah, it was in front of all of us. It's smoking like that.
Was it a UPS plane?
I believe so.
I believe so. We just saw it, one of the wings was on fire, and then it just crashed.
And of course, the earth-shattering aftermath of 14 people being killed, another 23 hurt. UPS in the aftermath grounded all of those MD-11 model planes as the SDMB is still doing its investigation. And just to put that in perspective for you folks, that call was just one of 90 that our Wave News team sifted through to see what was recorded for you today. I would encourage you, if you'd like to hear more as just part of our reporting and sharing this information that was published and given in a records request, we do have it up for you on wave3.com. It might be part of our Logan Perone's reporting, but also in our general subject matter of the ongoing investigation into the deadly UPS plane crash for sure. Coming back here into the studio, one more thing to share with you all. A story in this beginning block of tonight's live stream is LMPD sharing with us that 3 teens that they say are part of an organized car theft ring. They led police on a chase, but they're all facing charges tonight because they got caught. The chase spanned both Kentucky and Indiana Sunday night. In fact, in our reporting team, they talked to one woman's story, what LMPD described as a pretty dramatic pursuit. Wave News reporter Fernando Garcia Francischini is the one who talked to the victim. Her car was stolen and was a part of this particular chase. And here is Fernando's report.
People at what's typically a quiet neighborhood near Middletown were shocked to learn what happened to their neighbor a little over a week ago.
It had to be like 3 a.m. because I woke up at 7. Came downstairs and my garage was open.
The woman, who wants to stay anonymous, says she ran panicked up the driveway and noticed her car was gone. LMPD then started looking for the car.
Maybe 5 days after they took it, they caught it at U of L Hospital, dropping somebody off that was shot in the face in my car.
And Sunday night, she heard her car was part of a cross-state police chase.
I mean, I have a hockey mom sticker on the back of it. I just can't believe it.
Police say the pursuit started here on the 9700 block of Dixie Highway. LMPD says detectives were doing surveillance on a stolen car, and they say the suspects were armed with a rifle, body armor, and police equipment. Police say officers attempted a traffic stop, but the suspects took off. That led to a pursuit that included LMPD's air and drone units. LMPD says the chase went all the way across the river to Sellersburg, Indiana, and in the process, police say the suspects got rid of the rifle. That rifle was then recovered by detectives. Police say the suspects stole a different car before returning to Louisville, where officers were able to arrest them after they ran into a parking garage near 4th and Main downtown. 3 18-year-olds are now facing charges, including organized crime. LMPD says this is just the beginning.
We think they probably had some help, but we're going to identify who those people are, and we're going to put charges on them as well.
As for the victim, her family is now left scared and scrambling just before the holidays.
Out of all the cars in the neighborhood, they took mine. And it's Christmas time. Why are they doing this to me? I have 3 kids. I had 2 booster cars in there. I had my stroller in there.
Reporting in Louisville, Fernando Garcia Francischini, Wave News.
We thank you for sticking with us on tonight's live stream of Wave News Extra. We do have much more to share with you as we'll continue this live stream, including some updates on some pretty, staggering investigations and cases LMPD's brought up, court appearance in a very, bizarre and you run out of words to describe just how awful the details and the allegations are against a mother accused of basically cutting up her own child. That case you've probably heard of before, but just the latest court appearance of that is concerned. An update to a DoorDash driver's pepper spraying a customer's bag, and now the sheriff's reaction to the excuse that was brought up as to why that could have happened, and so much more to break down with you tonight. So we're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back with much more of tonight's Wave News Extra. Welcome back in, everyone. LMPD's made an arrest in a deadly shooting earlier this month that happened in the Shelby Park neighborhood. The suspect, 35-year-old William Baker, now facing several charges that include murder. This was a shooting we'd heard about happened on East Oak Street, December 3rd. The police found a man who'd been shot several times. He died, and the coroner had not shared his name. But Baker's been in custody at LMDC since December 4th, the day after the shooting. But he was just charged with murder on this particular morning.
Brandon Dawson.
More updates tonight. The mother of a 5-year-old boy found dead inside a suitcase in southern Indiana. Well, she appeared in court today in Louisville. Dijon Anderson entered a not guilty plea to charges of murder, manslaughter, and an abuse of a corpse in connection to the death of her son, Cairo Jordan. Anderson's case was moved to Jefferson County last week. Today, Anderson requested a public defender, unlike what happened up in Washington County, Indiana, where she filed a motion to represent herself. Her case was moved to Louisville because police believe Anderson killed her son in a Louisville home before she then dumped his body in Indiana back in April of 2022. She's scheduled to be back in court in January. In another update, a Louisville man facing more than 100 charges, just to say that straight up. Investigators say he illegally sold salvage vehicles without providing titles and used altered or counterfeit temporary tags. So we checked the court documents. This happened between January and May this year, and police are claiming 37-year-old Marcus Forbes sold cars to at least 4 people, collected the thousands of dollars he made off of that, but failed to provide vehicle titles and not disclosing the fact that the cars were salvaged. Investigators say the suspect is not a licensed dealer, continued selling cars even after getting a cease and desist order back in April. Authorities say he'd already racked up multiple felony cases for similar claims. And again, he's facing 113 charges for this particular slate of cases, ranging from forgery to theft by deception. Forbes appeared virtually before a judge. He pleaded not guilty. He's supposed to be back in court again on February. Take you over to more stories here. Okay. As far as we know, crews at Louisville Water, they started pretty busy because they had to fix a water main break near Seneca Park on Cannons Lane. But you can imagine in this kind of freezing weather, who knows if that at all played a role in pipe bursting or whatever was going on. The Louisville Water Company, we know, got to work trying to repair things around 9:30 this morning. And this is the view that our camera crews were getting earlier today, just to see what the scale of the damage was. We'd heard back from water company leaders that at least around, let's say, 5 o'clock this afternoon, that they still had crews out there fixing the broken pipe. We'll try to reach back out just to confirm how much more work it is going to take, or if they do have to do a little extra work going into late tonight and tomorrow to see where things do stand for you folks out there by Seneca Park. Now looking at a bit of macro politics, but very much in a Kentucky sense, when you have the 2 senators voted to represent in Congress, voted by Kentuckians to represent them in Congress, and they're butting heads on the future of a particular industry. This is perhaps the perspective Senator Rand Paul is bringing, that he says he's still supporting Kentucky's $300 million hemp industry. Farmers and retailers, we have reported and shown you that they're fighting back because Senator Mitch McConnell pushed a ban through Congress on many hemp THC products. Wave News reporter David Mattingly has done some reporting today, and he found hemp supporters trying to move quickly before the actual ban that McConnell supported goes into effect.
The battle lines are clearly drawn as hemp producers in Kentucky find congressional support in trying to avoid a ban imposed by Senator Mitch McConnell. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul stands with the people who could lose their jobs, their businesses, their investments, and their favorite buzz-inducing THC products made from hemp. Paul expressed frustration, saying McConnell was not interested in compromising when he pushed a bill through Congress, setting strict limits on hemp THC, effectively banning most products. Set to go into effect in 10 months, McConnell's restrictions have state hemp farmers already struggling to sell much of their 2025 harvest and debating on taking a chance to plant the next crop in the spring.
If he sees an accomplishment destroying a multi-million, actually billion-dollar industry, I don't see that as an accomplishment. I don't know that we're going to change his mind, but I think he really has not been well informed on this. I don't think he understands the devastation this is going to bring.
McConnell's office did not respond to our request for comment. Paul's remarks were made during a tour of Cornbread Hemp in Louisville. The rapidly growing company makes gummies and seltzers containing THC derived from hemp. They are products that company officials say would be severely impacted by McConnell's restrictions. 2 senators from Oregon have already submitted a bill regulating THC levels in products, packaging, and age limits for customers. David Mattingly, Wave News.
Coming up on 8:29, and want to appreciate you for staying with us here on tonight's Wave News Extra live stream. And we're sort of following back up on a story that was pretty startling coming out of Evansville, Indiana. And you maybe have seen this shared online, but just to think, you know, the possibility of someone messing with your DoorDash order in such a way. You might remember this Ring camera catching driver who's now since been arrested of pepper spraying customers' orders on purpose. And in a little more follow-up reporting that our partners have done, it seems the local sheriffs, the sheriffs and deputies involved out there in Evansville, that they're disclosing what the suspect allegedly was claiming was the reason why they broke out the pepper spray. And needless to say, the sheriff says that they were not buying that for 1 second. Here's reporter Leslie Chapman with this update.
Mark Hardin sent us this video earlier this week. As we've previously reported, Hardin and his wife decided to order DoorDash on December 7th when they eventually realized something was wrong with their food. Video from Mark's doorbell camera caught the suspect, later identified as Courtney Stevenson, spraying the food bag with pepper spray after dropping it off. Hardin told officials after eating the food, they both began feeling sick.
This instance was rather disturbing, obviously. It's not something you see every day, a DoorDash driver or a food delivery driver deliberately tampering with somebody's food. Obviously, the word got out pretty quick with the victims posting the video online, and it gained a lot of attention, even regionally and nationally.
Police spoke to Stevenson and say she claimed she was spraying a spider and explained that she is terrified of them. Vanderburgh County Sheriff's officials say they don't buy it.
I am not an arachnid expert, but I do know, having been a Southern Indiana resident for my entire life, that spiders don't crawl around in the wintertime, and the low of that night was somewhere around 35 degrees. Any spider would be warm inside its shelter and would not be crawling around on somebody's doorstep.
DoorDash officials say they've revoked Stevenson's access to their platform. That's according to an updated statement sent to NBC News. In that statement, DoorDash officials also said they have zero tolerance for that behavior.
This is embarrassing for them, but I mean, they're a huge company they have to depend on a lot of folks to carry out their operations. And so it's impossible to hire people with the breadth of folks they have to hire to do these jobs and know what's in somebody's heart. But the companies seem to take immediate action to get in front of it. And so, yeah, I would consider them cooperative and certainly wouldn't discourage anyone from using their services in any way.
And that was reporter Leslie Chapman with that update. What comes from it, we'll make sure to share that with you on air, online, here on the live streams as you connect, of course, with us through Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, and on the Wave Now app as well. Letting you know that we're probably going to, try to flesh out some more of the details tonight, but we know it's been an item of pretty significant interest for folks living in Linden and Belmead here within the Louisville Metro when it comes to this Leaf Spring daycare proposal for what would have been a facility. We did send one of our photojournalists out there tonight for the special meeting. It started around 6. In essence, what we did confirm was City Council, they're voting to deny the rezoning application or request to have this potential daycare built there. And some of the background, again, it would have been to rezone a parcel so that they could have built there and done so accordingly. But throughout the process, we, had emailed conversations in our reporting, phone calls, interactions with folks living in Linden, some close to Belmead, and likely many there in the crowd tonight that they said they had no question or no problem sharing that they did not think this was a good idea, at least when it comes to building the daycare in that existing spot with a lot of residential traffic. Not that necessarily they were against building a daycare, but just that, in their opinion, that was not the place to try to get that done. And so I want to give you an idea as we play some of the video that our photojournalist was sharing, again, just to give you a better perspective of where this would have been built. So you see the intersection there, Whittington Parkway and Whips. So there's that element that it's right by where this corner of U of L campus is. And folks, again, making no secret about homeowners who did not want to have the daycare, the potential Leaf Spring, which is a franchise brand, but not have it built where they were initially trying to appeal to, which was in this parcel here within the Metro. Here is a little bit of the B-roll we did get for the folks who showed up to the meeting. Special, not many other items on the agenda's business. It really was much more concerned about whether council would agree or disagree with the rezoning request. And in the end, our Wave News reporting team confirming that is not the case. We'll make sure to, get some of that reaction and perspective about what could be coming next. That'll be ready for you tonight on Wave News at 11. In other news, voters in parts of Southwest Louisville have been casting early ballots for a special election to fill the vacant seat that was once held by David Yates. Yates, who is now the interim Jefferson County clerk, says, though, only 1% of registered voters have made their voices heard. Early voting has been happening nearly all month long for this District 37 special election. No excuse voting wrapped up this weekend. The election is tomorrow. General election day is tomorrow. The county clerk's office tells us there are 75,000 people in District 7 registered to vote, but only 1% of eligible ballots cast. Yates believes this is a warning sign of low turnout, but in the time that is left, he's encouraging anyone tomorrow to head out to the polls.
Special elections ensure that there is no gap, that people will have solid representation. I can tell you, as someone who was born and raised in this area, that represented the area in the Metro Council and then the State Senate, there's a lot of great people. It's a good community. It is important that you please get out, cast your vote, and be heard.
The three candidates running in this special election are Republican Calvin Leach, Democrat Gary Clemens, and Libertarian Wendy Higdon. 8 places to cast your ballot tomorrow, and you can find that information in a link to our website on wave3.com. Certainly will be a story we'll follow as Election Day proper is going to, arrive tomorrow and see what the turnout and the ultimate result of the election might even be. A bit of a detour now with some stories that have caught a lot of people's eyes from across the world, national and internationally. There's the deadly, awful shooting in Australia. And today we saw images, hundreds leaving flowers, other mementos at a growing makeshift memorial honoring the victims of Sunday's mass shooting. 16 people killed when a father and son caught on camera shooting at a Jewish festival, and it became Australia's deadly shooting in almost 30 years. 40 other victims still in the hospital. Australian police describing a bit of the assailants' background information: a 50-year-old father, a 24-year-old son. The prime minister, in his saying he and his cabinet are agreeing to now even further strengthen gun laws, working on a national firearms register to tackle details as the number of weapons permitted by each license, how long those licenses are valid. Police saying the older suspect has held a firearms license since 2015, owning 6 registered weapons. But in the same token, we're learning the name of the man who wrestled a gun from one of the attackers at Bondi Beach. Australian leaders say the man in the hospital bed there is Ahmed Al-Ahmed, a 43-year-old father. And there's probably some video that's been circulating, being shared on social media. He was seen tackling the shooter, taking his gun. He was later shot by one of the others, the second gunman, recovering in the hospital. And his cousin is talking to reporters about what has happened in the hours since.
Still, he's in the hospital, and we don't know exactly what's going inside. But they said the doctor, he's very okay. And next 2 hours, they let us to go in and see Ahmed, because he's still inside and he do the operation. But we hope he will be fine. He's a hero, 100%. He's a hero.
And officials who visited Ahmed in the hospital say the same thing, that he saved countless lives with a, quote, act of incredible bravery. Just hoping to see, we can switch back here to the studio. And what I was missing was to share. Okay, I know exactly what's happening, is just some extra video I was trying to drag up to the top here for you, but such is the case sometimes when it is a live stream. So bear with me, everybody, and appreciate you joining us tonight, by the way. And the other stories gaining those national headlines and attentions, it's an active search right now, actually, for a suspect in Saturday's deadly shooting at Brown University. Right now, officials giving an update, and I believe I was trying to play this video for you here. Okay. Officials had given an update, and for one student there, this was not, unfortunately, the first time that she's had to survive a school shooting. 2 people killed, 9 others hurt in this on-campus shooting over the weekend. A person was taken into custody for questioning, but has since been released after authorities said the evidence, quote, now points in a different direction. For one student, this, again, not the first time she's found herself trying to survive. In 2019, at her high school in California, her name is Mia Tretta. She was shot in the abdomen. And back then, 2 of her own classmates, including her best friend, she disclosed that were killed in that attack.
Shooting does still impact my daily life. But here at Brown, I felt like safer than I did in other places. And it felt like, of course, it won't happen again. It already did. But here we are. And it's because of years, if not decades, of inaction that this has happened. Unfortunately, gun violence doesn't care whether you've been shot before.
After that happened in 2019, Tretta, who you heard from there, she says she's become a gun control advocate, pushing for action, particularly in policy against ghost guns. We know as far as a local tie-in, Mayor Craig Greenberg mentioning that his son, who's a student right there, had to seek a shelter as police were actively trying to find whoever would have taken those shots. And so there's the connection there, but still an active search for that suspect, who police are now saying they pivoted to a different direction for who they're looking for. The clip that may have played a little extra there was what I was also going to say was another huge story being talked about all over the place and online, of course. is Hollywood, and movie fans around the world tonight mourning, remembering the tragic death of filmmaker Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. LAPD saying they believe it was the couple's son who murdered them inside their LA home. This is reporter Jay Gray with the latest.
A day after the stabbing deaths of Rob and Michelle Reiner, Los Angeles police now say it was the couple's son, Nick, who murdered his parents inside their Brentwood mansion.
They worked throughout the night on this case and were able to take into custody Nick Reiner, a suspect in this case. He was subsequently booked for murder and is being held on $4 million bail.
The 32-year-old has talked openly about struggles with homelessness and addiction and was a co-writer on the screenplay for Being Charlie, a 2015 movie loosely based on his life and directed by his father.
I mean, a long, long time it took me to start to carve out my own identity.
World. His world, one of a Hollywood legend, an accomplished comedian, actor, and the director of some of the most iconic films of the 80s and 90s, including When Harry Met Sally, Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, This Is Spinal Tap, and A Few Good Men. Reiner also very active politically and a dogged opponent of President Trump.
Unless the public is informed, we don't have a chance to hold this democracy together.
President Trump suggesting in a social media post that Reiner's death was due to, quote, his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, going on to praise his administration and what he calls the golden age of America. As Americans and fans around the world remember the beloved storyteller and his legacy, one that will live on through his film. Jay Gray, NBC News.
And what perhaps has added to a lot of the online conversation following President Trump's post about Reiner's death, Kentucky Republican lawmaker Thomas Massie himself then posting on social media to condemn the president's post, reading, quote, regardless of how you felt about Rob Reiner, this is inappropriate and disrespectful discourse about a man who was just brutally murdered. I guess my elected GOP colleagues, the VP and White House staff, will just ignore it because they are afraid, ? I challenge anyone to defend it. So you see perhaps their pushback by Kentucky Representative Thomas Massie and likely sort of a post in and of itself after the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife, now just creating those extra ripples across social media, and likely whenever leaders will make comments about that, that will become part of the reporting that we'll share with you, as it is now a story of public concern, even if it was contained, to someone involved in movies and political activism, but now in the criminal investigation, something will certainly continue to follow along that way. We're going to take a break just to reset really quick and talk about the last round of stories with you. And we do appreciate you staying with us on tonight's live stream, hoping you are again staying warm. Could be much colder, I know, because we were there earlier this weekend, just trying to make the most of that. We're going to have another round of some, holiday themed stories and sharing a little bit of what's good happening in our community, in our neck of the woods in Wave Country. So we're going to take that quick pause and be right back. Coming up on 8:46, and it may be a little hard to believe, but for some, can't wait for the day to arrive. The Christmas is a little more than a week away, and we know the holiday season is about a lot of sweet snacks. You stack them in your pantries and you bake them, and you also share them with your friends, family, and coworkers. In fact, Target looked into what they think, or was trying to do the survey of the most popular holiday cookies across the U.S. So you're seeing a map right there on the screen, and you can see there's a pretty common theme across all 50 states, or most of them, is the gingerbread man, to signify that gingerbread cookies do reign supreme as far as the most popular for the holiday seasons. Target's data saying gingerbread cookies, at least, are the most purchased holiday cookie, including in Kentucky, right here, also across the river in Indiana. And then for the other sweet treats that you can find on the map for other states, you might see the candy canes a little bit up there in the Pacific Northwest, extending into Big Sky Country. Seeing candy cane there for New York. Kansas, a little bit of an outlier there with a shortbread cookie. Okay, that should be a sugar cookie, not candy canes. Those are sugar cookies for the states in the light blue, and shortbread cookies for Kansas and Montana, I believe there. And not to forget, Maine and New Jersey are an interesting combination there for sure. I'm going to round out our stories with a bit of some holiday magic here locally. Members of the local Fraternal Order of Police across our area help brighten kids' spirits as they're getting their treatment at Norton Children's Hospital. We're talking about the combo of the River City FOP, the Jeffersontown FOP Lodge, wanted to dress up as Santa's elves for the day to deliver toys to patients. Members and volunteers who help them say it's not only about bringing joy to the kids, it brings them a joy to share these gifts.
There's hundreds. I couldn't give you exact amount because people come and go, but we're always grateful to take presents home because that means some people got discharged, and that's the ultimate goal, is to get them home for Christmas. But while they're here, we want to bring them a little holiday cheer.
Now, this was the 28th year the FOP Lodge has provided toys to kids at the hospital. And because the gift giving is not done just yet, fourth grade students at Christian Academy of Louisville helped wrap and get bag gifts that are going to go to families out in Eastern Kentucky. The students say they've been collecting all these gifts over the last several weeks, and after they were wrapped up, they were loaded onto a Mr. P Express truck driven over 200 miles to Hardin County, where they'll be given to families through the Mountain Santa Ministry.
It's wonderful because these kids realize how blessed they are, and they actually see the kids that get them. We have pictures, and families go down and actually participate in handing out the gifts, and the kids love the fact that they can see that their donations actually go to someone.
Love to hear the chatter of the classroom right behind our teacher there. The fourth grade class has been participating in this Mountain Santa partnership for over 15 years. A reminder that you can always follow along with what's going on as part of our What's Good series, any holiday drives and things to share. Of course, our top stories and those updates brought here to the homepage on wave3.com. The story that is likely going to, merit us doing some follow-up, digging in and asking questions, this Ford decision to repurpose their battery park out in Hardin County will be something we'll be following quite closely. Anything else that happens in the meantime, of course, we're going to work to share that with you here and we'll say the live stream, but also on air on Wave News at 11 to continue that on the website, on the free to download Wave News app and the Wave Weather app, because we're going to be talking about just how soon this winter warm up is going to come. Real quick, do not want to forget to shout out John Henry joining us on YouTube. And I'm not sure if John Henry's asking perhaps a peanut butter cookie would be something that should be added to the holiday cookie list. Not going to say no to a peanut butter cookie any time of year. That would be something to open the floor to you all to see what you think is the best of the Christmas time and holiday cookies. Always appreciate your time joining us. So again, as evidenced by coming to have a chat and let us know what you're thinking, with Ashley asking us about this. Probably is going to be a very significant story for folks out in Hardin County with the battery plant. But that's connecting with us through your preferred app, let's say that's Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, the Wave Now app that you can stream anytime. And of course, follow along with the reports and the stories we're sharing, our original troubleshooters investigations, long form documentaries, all there at your fingertips for sure. Perhaps we can come back to have that discussion about favorite holiday snacks and treats as we do now an inch closer to the holiday. And because the stories and the news never stops, make sure to follow us, and we'll do our best to make sure you have the information you need and know what is happening in our community. Appreciate your time, everyone. I'm Jose Sosalia in the Wave Now studio. We'll see you back here tomorrow night, and we're going to go get ready for the news at 11. Hope you join us then.